think you need to increase the volume, or I need to increase the volume? Hi folks, I think my voice is still enough. My name is Mukesh. I am a software development engineer at Amazon.com. You might have heard a lot of boring, like very, very tiring sessions and all. I can promise you this is going to be an interesting one. So first let me prove it. With some video. This is not coming. Yeah.
You hooked up your screen audio?
Yeah. It's only connected.
Connecting?
Yeah. It's connected. No. Sorry about that. Good. This is what Amazon Live is.
कसके जूता कसके बेल्ट खोस के अंदर अपनी शर्ट मंजिल को चली सवारी कंधों पे जिम्मेदारी हाथ में फाइल मन में दम मीलों मील चलेंगे हम हर मुश्किल से टकराएंगे टस से मस ना होंगे हम दुनिया का नारा जमे रहो मंजिल का इशारा जमे रहो दुनिया का नारा जमे रहो मंजिल का इशारा जमे रहो ये सोते भी है टेंशन आगे रहने की है टेंशन मेहनत इनको प्यारी है एकदम आज्ञाकारी है
Amazon.
आज्ञाकारी
Yeah, Amazon. Let's go.
ये ऑमलेट पर ही जीते हैं ये टॉनिक सारे पीते हैं वक्त पे सोते वक्त पे खाते तान के सीना बढ़ते जाते दुनिया का नारा जमे रहो मंजिल का इशारा जमे रहो दुनिया का नारा जमे रहो मंजिल का इशारा जमे रहो
Work hard and get this done before the meeting ends.
आज ना छोड़ेंगे आज ना छोड़ेंगे हम तो बोलेंगे मन को खोलेंगे दिल को जीतेंगे आज ना छोड़ेंगे मन को खोलेंगे खेलेंगे खेलेंगे दिल को जीतेंगे
Now let's have fun.
In the air, Srishan takes it. India win. Unbelievable scenes here at the bull ring. Jeff Lawson can't believe it.
That's our story from Amazon.
I hope you enjoyed. And this was an interesting thing. Now let me come to another interesting side. Oops, it's not interesting, like something you talk about Amazon retail system. This is what I'm going to talk about. What Amazon retail system is, what I'm talking about continuous refactoring, how did it achieve, and blah blah blah. So let me introduce you to Amazon retail system. As a developer, we have more challenges, bigger challenges what in Amazon retail system we need to do. The first thing is, at Amazon, we have to have very high throughput. We have to cater the volume such a large, because if you talk about in the US or Europe, any shopping website, there's a default is Amazon. Not only we are increasing the number of orders, we are also increasing in different markets. You talk about Mexico, Brazil, and of course India. These are things that are increasing. Our throughput is increasing, our challenges are increasing. I give you a simple example. In last year, the Cyber Monday, we delivered 16.8 million of items. If you consider that, it's like around 1.5 million per hour. Still not able to quantify. In a minute, we were able to get order of 25,000 plus items. Or if I just blink, in 1 second, we deliver 426 items. That's the scale we have to work upon. But not only that challenge, we have another challenge of the latency. Latency means it's Amazon.com page is just an aggregation of lot of graph of different services. It's completely based on service-oriented architecture. So if every system of website behind Amazon is measured very precisely, even in just milliseconds. So we have a challenge that aggregate latency has to be very low. If a customer clicks an order, it takes some couple of seconds. That's a bad experience, and the customer will go away. It will never come back to Amazon. We have to make sure on that as well. And we were one of those subsystems of Amazon. The third challenge is availability. There is no downtime for Amazon. We have to be 100% available. Again, if there's a downtime, customer will go away, find another website, and order it. We have to make sure that we will have to be reliable as well as available at any time. It gives a very simple conversation between a car engine mechanic and a cardiologist. Car engine mechanic said, we both repair heart, but why are you getting so much paid higher? The cardiologist said, can you repair your vehicle while it's running? It's the same challenge we have. We have our website running, we have no downtime, and we have to make sure that we keep on improving, we keep on deploying. If there's an issue, we just roll back in a very previous state in a very, very shorter time. With those challenges, we have our own challenges in a regular software. So let's move it to the right topic, which we have, continuous refactoring. As refactoring, everybody knows, in a positive sense, you refactor your code, your system in such a way that it's more readable code or it's more improved version of that. But what is continuous refactoring? Can anybody know? Can anybody tell? There are very brilliant people here. It's very simple. The meaning itself it says. Can somebody raise hand and tell me? It's refactoring by itself. You mean the automated refactoring? To be honest, I have not seen such system. Yeah, it's simple. You keep on continuously improving. It's just not, okay, you have done it, refactor it. No, I'm done. It's not done yet. Because the moment you create more requirement, that's what the agile principle is. And everybody knows. If everybody knows what's the continuous refactoring and what's the meaning of that, then why am I here? Is it we are done with the topic itself? Okay, let's ask our pioneer, hey, what do you mean by continuous refactoring? Because this is the guy who has talked about that. Okay, you know who he is? Martin Fowler. So Martin, either there are places some scheduled refactoring efforts. Generally we schedule it, we do it. But I prefer to encourage refactoring an opportunity activity. Done it wherever the code needs to be clean and whomsoever. Yeah, that everybody does. Everybody wants to do it. Every developer wants to do it, that if I see something, okay, let me do it then and there itself. Let me do the continuous refactoring. He used the name as opportunities refactoring in his blogs. I'm talking something little more than that. It's just not about code, about your system, about your feature or something you want to improve upon. Okay. Everybody wants to do that. then the question comes, are there any challenges to do that? Can anybody? What the challenge you feel? I'm going to note it down. The fear of regression. The value. Am I going to get a value out of it? Backward compatibility, I think something related to that. I'm going to add that as well. Of course, that's a major point. Do I have a time? Priority. I can do it now or I should do it later. Infrastructure compatibility. What?
So when you are changing something, are you sure that you get the same response from the underlying hardware when the code changes?
Is it something related to regression or backward compatibility?
No. So
or am I missing some point?
yeah. So let's say a particular code leads to a change in the underlying microcode, which may not be supported completely by your underlying hardware architecture. You are possibly doing a load store instruction change in such an order that it adds a cycle in your hardware.
So what I sense is the hardware is another layer which is going to be pumped to the software. You see, you're talking about compatibility still. So I believe in a, if you think of hardware, you keep that abstract piece as a black box to the software. I think I feel it meets into that same backward compatibility or your integration still. Or am I missing some points still?
No, so when you make a code change, right? If you go down the assembly level, you're possibly adding an additional cycle for your one single statement.
So you mean the performance you're talking about? So performance is again fear of regression, but it's a performance. How will you make sure that you are not losing on the performance? In other words, for us it's very, very important, because if we lose some milliseconds, we are in doom stage. But here I'm not talking about the feature sets, I'm talking about the refactor itself. I have a code, I feel there is a need of refactoring. I want to do the continuous refactoring or continuous improvement on that. Yes, resources. Will my manager allow me? I say I want to take 1 week to refactor this. He said there is a feature available for you to deliver. Okay, yeah, definitely there are more challenges we see. I just want to like categorize them, and definitely there will be more, but I'm just in terms of priority. The first is regression risk, which everybody, one of my friend told. See, I have made the change. If I want to make a change, I need to make sure that it doesn't regress, because if I'm regressing, then there's a bigger problem for me. I get like nobody will accept that thing, even if I refactor. The second, short-term solutions, and that's exactly the same thing. I say I want to deliver it. My manager will say, hey, come on, there is already priority, you to deliver that, forget about this. There are lot of things we do as a short term. Even not only that, if you do in a coding as well, you say, hey, this is just, instead of saying a hack or a workaround, we say, this is just in time of working code. I have done it, and I may not have time to make it in an improved state or in a better stage. And I believe that is something which is everybody feels a bit around that. Every developer or every team thinks about that. The third, the moment you start doing that kind of thing, it starts going into code smells. Means, let's say I found something, okay, there is one code I've seen. I don't have time to refactor and make it more very good design. I'll just duplicate something, and I do it. Then the third thing happens, I just keep on doing that thing. And I keep on doing that mistake, or keep on that, instead of improving, I said deproving again and again, and you keep on going in that cycle. It's going into your more verbal and verbal. If you don't do the refactoring, or you just stop your code to be improved there. I believe everybody has faced this kind of problem. And definitely as one of along these challenges, we have our own previous challenge, which I told you in Amazon. we had to deliver, we have to think of still refactoring, to think in terms of a long term. Okay, so as a developer, what should I do? There is a clear, I see there is a need to refactor, but these are the challenges are coming to me. What generally people do? I want to hear from you.
So maybe you can add that to a story and then prioritize.
Yeah, add to a story. Or you can see in some form, you document it or you place it somewhere.
That particular refactor.
Okay, and then try to convince your manager or the business there.
Because you're going to take care of the time, resources, and priority, which were the challenges in the previous one.
Yeah.
At least at a high level, or do a spike to be able to see whether that refactoring is going to make sense.
Get the value out of it. Yeah.
It could be to the way that you've already created, or
Talk about quality, and people will agree.
So just do it and learn.
Just do it, man. Forget it. Just do it. Yes. Or something.
Because you're fixing some performance issues, or why do you need to refactor? So you can convince yourself and the business people.
Yes. So you just create the value out of it. You need to convince yourself that there is value. So thinking that there is a value I see, but with that challenges I'm fearing whether it will regress. Let's say I see a simple example of duplicate code. I see there is a value in that. But if I start thinking in that direction, I am not sure whether it may hit, it may regress it, or it may create some latency issues and all.
there might be dependencies.
There may be dependencies and all. So how, this is like is a regular developer's dilemma. So I just come up with a simple three options, maybe some more. One is bite the bullet. Yes, just do it. Forget it. Everybody is saying me. I don't care. First, let me clean this up. That's the best thing to do. Honestly, that's the best thing to do. But there is a fire also coming into you in terms of business delivery. We need to make sure that we are delivering on that particular thing. The second thing, as one of my friends said, park it somewhere or note it down. Add a story, document it. We'll come back. But to be honest, we wrote it somewhere, and then if you need to figure out, hey man, I need to do something, I forgot that, and you get a time to come back and do it? Do we really get a chance? Probably yes, but in the most of the cases, my practice says it's no. And there's something sometimes also happens, you thought there is some code or there is something improved. In the meantime, you come back to this guy, there's already things have been changed.
Yeah, but there's a negative side as well, right? If you just bite the bullet, and if it regresses, sometimes the manager will say, "Who made this change? It has hit in production and so on."
I'm saying, I'm coming in terms of developer dilemma. Developer wants to do, but there is the problem. The manager wants to park it and then say, okay, let's park it somewhere and then we'll see. I hope you might do something in the management side. So you just say, let's park it. Make developer happy and make yourself happy, because I know developer will not come back because you already work on that thing. The third way of doing is you make a special drive. You say, okay, let's spend 1 week in just improving that. We are not going to do any business delivery. We are not going to do it. We just do that thing, which is the improvement in our software, or improvement, or refactor this so that it makes our future things better. But do we get a chance to do that? Definitely no. I know that the manager will say, no man, there is no, we have a lot of things to do. Forget about everything. So definitely as a team, we also had the same problem. We also had the same dilemma. We tried something, and we tried with the management support, and I'm coming to that how did we try to become a part of continuous refactoring or optimistic refactoring. So first is the foundation block. What does it mean? Have anybody heard of Grupa? Gurupa is a town in Brazil where this Amazon river turns very narrow and the speed becomes high. Amazon website, when it started in 1995, that the name of the rendering engine was Gurupa. And it got deprecated and Obidos came into picture. I think I'm talking, okay. I think I'm talking reverse. Sorry, I'm talking reverse. Obidos is the river and we came up with the Gurupa as a new system, which was a completely decoupled, and that's where the SOA principle started coming into picture for Amazon. So we also had some services which we feel that, hey, this service is completely coupled with this, and this is where we feel this complete domain is having the problem to refactor because nobody has touched this, how to do it. So first we took out that, we decoupled that guy, created a new service or new component out of it which is creating a problem for us or which requires a serious overhaul, and we call it decouple. So there is a component, there is a service, and we created new two services. This service A is working fine. If I start doing something change in this guy, which is a problematic, I have to bear the problem with service A also. What did I do? I just created two different components. Simple. Now, all the refactoring or all my improvements second. Has anybody heard of shadow mode testing? It's very, very powerful tool. You heard of unit testing, you might have heard of assertion testing, you might have heard of integration testing, but what is shadow mode testing? So, if the problem with the unit test cases or your static or whatever the test cases you have, they are all static in nature. You don't know what the user is calling. If I am in an SOA environment, in a service-oriented architecture, there are a lot of requests are going. I don't know where there are a lot of scenarios which I have not covered through this. I know there are like tons of scenarios in production, but I cannot completely bring them into my regular integration system. So how can I make sure that my production itself, the request become itself a test cases for me? That's where the shadow mode testing comes into picture. How do we do? You have a production boxes. You have some gamma, pre-prod or whatever where you bring it here. You take out some request, dump into your gamma environment, compare their responses or whatever the state they are they matching or not? You take some 20%, whatever the percentage you want to take it, you take it in that way. The advantage, I'm not fearing if there is something changing happening in my production environment itself or their scenario is changing. I'm completely testing what is coming from the customers. That was a big win for us when we implemented that.
So industry name for this, is it like island testing?
Yeah, I don't know. This is what we call it. Maybe there are different names also. To be honest, can you give me the name? Island testing.
Almost a parallel production system.
Yeah.
Maybe 2% or 5% of your regular production users, and route it and handle it through this system. And then you get to understand what's actually the user.
Exactly. We just don't understand. We are just doing in the completely, we just do the diffs and all, everything is automated, and you make sure that everything is working fine. If there's diff, it will automatically report you and tell you there is a problem, and then you debug and make it work.
Production impact, right? This is completely away from the production traffic.
Absolutely. So there is it has to be parallel traffic. Again, otherwise we'll hit on the latency, which will hit us.
No, but you're talking about this in a very early stages, right? You're not talking about this after you've refactored and then you've used it. I mean, when are you talking about shadow mode testing? Is it that I've tried to divide into two services and you're talking about a lower environment, or are you talking about an environment which is a real guest?
Yeah.
You've routed my traffic to this, or
So-
it's rather a copy of that kind of thing.
Exactly.
It's
It's a
not
copy.
my traffic.
The regular customer will not get affected. If that gets affected, then what's the problem? It's the same thing when you are running the production environment.
Having a replica of that request.
Yes. We're copying it and we are copying the response, how the production is giving, how this shadow mode is giving, and if there's any diff, I'll fix it then and there itself.
How are you going to avoid all the PCI, PII? I mean, in those kinds of cases, how do you handle it?
So yeah, that's a like again your implementation thing. How do you ignore certain kind of things? We have some numericals, you have a date things, you have some kind of, you need to sometimes mock also that hey, this should not, like, you should not talk to my production database also. Okay, don't write in production, let me write into my Gamma database. So these things you have to mock it out. Okay. The third is, I think it's everybody does, is your continuous delivery. So continuous delivery is something you just assume that you just put into build, test, and these things happen automatically. But there are a lot of things you have to invest there so that it becomes really automated. When it comes to the shadow mode testing, bringing into the pipeline, it really invests, it makes a lot of things for us. So the way I want to talk it, that before we started, we put into these blocks so that it can help us, we are not doing anything wrong when we do that thing. Then the regular picture, the regular day-to-day implementations, on-part going projects. This is our very favorite. Do the unit testing, make sure that you are following all the TDD thing and all. So to be honest, I was not aware of this TDD concept. So Naresh Jain, he came to us, he gave us a 3 days training, and I realized how the importance of this. But it's not just like that. After that, we made sure that after any code happens, it's a code reviewer's responsibility to make sure that all the unit test cases which he wants to cover, it's just not about just numbers of coverage. It talks about the scenarios also. Hey, what's happened if you're doing that thing? If something goes wrong, it's a code reviewers also become equally accountable for that. That made us our early stages of bugs finding and all. The next, definitely I need to invest. Still it is not there that just I just want to wait till my shadow mode testing or my unit testing. I still need to invest more into integration function. How did we invest? There are some ready-made things and all. The where we invested is, how can you make your functional test cases very faster? If I found some bug, can I make an automated way so it becomes the next time, it becomes my integral part of my unit test cases or my integration testing, and brings into the pipeline. So that is how we put lot of efforts in improving upon our integration or functional test cases as well, so that we don't catch the bugs in the next pipeline. And of course, refactor, you do clean, you refactor. The best thing is, now we have a complete or automated suite which will tell us, will give us a confidence that if you refactor, there is something not wrong is going on with you. You make sure that the things are going in the right direction. Okay, so these are the things. There's only one more thing, which is bounty. The bounty is something like exactly like documenting or putting into a story, but we are not doing it in a story. If you find something's improvement needed, it's not big improvement, and I'm not want to do it now, write it. But it should not be like big, hairy, 2 weeks, 3 weeks and all. It's just 4 or 5. Okay, I see there's some class we can refactor this and all, but it's not meeting my thing right now. Let me put it somewhere. We just put into a wiki or we put into some kind of a table. We just did only 1 day. We did, okay, let's 1 day spend on this, do this, all these cleanup tasks, like kind of a drive. We did it, and we went for a party. That's how we motivated ourselves that, hey, we are going to do this as well. So that's it, that's we have implemented. There are a lot of ways to implement. This is what we made a success out of it. But what are the results? Ultimately, that management wants. So first is definitely the operation pain we used to have. We used to have a lot of customer calls. So it helped us in improving upon from support engineer to developer. Now developer is less debugging things because they're already catching issues comes. It's like regular thing, and we can focus on more, again, the team velocity. The more the code you're clean, your development velocity increases. Apart from that, I remember when I joined and I started learning on that, it was very tough for me to learn this. But now the code has refactored in such a way that now even a new hire comes, we don't need to bother. Okay, this is the code for you, learn it, and start delivering. We don't need to do anything much. So the ramp up time also decreased.
But code refactoring is a continuous process, right? Probably the low hanging fruits must be over, but that journey will go on.
Yes, it is going on even today.
Even before I headed to Bangalore, I did some more refactoring, put into code review and came here. The third thing is, how come continuous refactoring can add a value in innovation? Anybody? The simplest thing is, when I put all the things in a proper place, now I can think of, hey, can I deliver this feature in a different way? Or can we think of something more? The earlier stage, if I started thinking even that direction, I was always fearing, man, I cannot do that because I have a fear of this thing. Now I can do it. I have my own foundation blocks which are helping me. Shadow mode testing is one of them, which will help me in doing that. Hey, it will allow me to take risk. I'm fine because I'll have something to support me. So I will definitely end very fast so that we can have more interaction. And that's what my promise was. I want to make it more interesting than you guys for boring thing. So what's the key takeaway from our experience, which can help your organization as well? First thing, invest on foundation. It's very tough, but the moment we see there is a value, the moment we show there is a value in the investing in foundation, maybe your continuous delivery or your maybe you're learning on gramping or agile or shadow mode testing or anything, or the founding the right thing and putting in the right place, it's okay to invest some time there for your continuous refactoring. The second, keep on improving. Even today, it's a day one journey for us for continuous refactoring. We still keep on doing, we keep on innovating, we keep on improving on what the systems we have. Even shadow mode testing we have improved. It's just not about the code you just need to improve. It's your end-to-end system, we should keep on improving. We find something, do it. The third is definitely never ever fear from any risk. If there is a risk, we try to mitigate or to take calculate risk and move ahead. Else we will be the same world where we are. We will not be able to think of a future. So with that, I'm very much in a before time, and I'm open for the questions.
Automation test cases for as part of a continuous pipeline, CI pipeline. So were they not impacted because of the regression changes which were brought in?
I couldn't get your question.
While you were refactoring your set of test cases which were meant for regression for the earlier functionality or feature, were they not impacted due to this regression?
Has to be. So you mean the unit testing or integration testing?
Everything.
Okay. So integration testing will definitely not affect it because it takes that service or that thing as a black box.
Okay.
But when it comes to the down level, your unit testing, as a part of refactoring, you have to change your unit test cases anyway.
But who writes those, when you do automation testing, right? When you have to create scripts for automation. Right?
Okay.
So when you developer is refactoring, who is doing the scripting for the automation?
So it's again. So for us, it's like end-to-end owned by developer. Okay. So we have a different way of doing. The thing is, again, developer felt a pain there because if I do some refactoring, I'm seeing the scenario, I need to add it here, then it's costing him more time in writing the automation than the coding. So what did we do? As in one of the slides, we invested there also that how can the productivity or then how can I write that unit test cases or scripting, or how can I automate that so that it becomes very faster for me. Yeah.
We talked a little bit about SOA.
And how is that done?
Good. We'll take it offline because it is not related to project.
We can take it offline. There are a lot of things happening. Yeah.
It went live 2 years back, and since then we are trying to refactor our code, and there is a huge technical debt in our project. We are struggling to find a point, where we should start. So, like, we always say, that refactoring is good, we should do it, but then we are not finding the starting point.
Okay. So starting
point is the foundation. I can tell you. The way foundation means that the way I understood, because the same thing which when we took up that, we were like completely zero in that. How we started doing that, we first take out the small pieces and try to understand that. That's the first thing. It's not that you will be able to learn whole and soul thing. You see your customer issues. You see where the pain is. Take that piece chunk and try to solve that piece first. That's what we did, and we were successful because so the moment I start doing that, the management gave a confidence. Hey, this guy has reduced where the customer pains are coming. Once we got a buy-in from them, we started doing that. Then we started confident, and we moving in the lower pieces as well.
So do you measure as well when you say customer complaints have gone down? So have you measured that how much value you have brought to the table to the business because of refactoring?
That's correctly
pointed out. The thing is, when I showed it to my internal team, I gave the complete numbers. Even I went into the code also. But when I came here, before that we have a ladder of PR, or we have to go to review when I externally. We definitely measured. That's how we got a buy-in.
How you are doing that? Nice point. So first thing is your ID
itself gives a lot of things, but there are like ID also has its limitations.
And there is another point. If you see that their ID cannot find out some scenario-based efficiencies.
So the first thing is which can point out deficiency scenario-based and all will be your own customer issues or your testing and all. The second comes your code and all. Apart from ID and all, Amazon, we internally have a lot of other tools which will give us another points. So to be honest, we switched off that guy because we were getting unnecessarily, that guy was giving us a lot of issues. Hey, you have this problem. Okay, leave it. This is just a code problem. My code is working. I don't care. We switched on that guy and we fixed those guys.
Code exercise. You identify some area that is required refactoring.
Yes.
So as part of a static analysis tool, that might be one way to identify those areas.
Yes. We did that. So we intentionally switched off when we started doing, but then later on the stage we switched on and we completed those guys as well.
Yeah.
How did you manage dependencies while doing refactoring? Okay, that answer to the SOA thing.
So service-oriented architecture means you have your own service. I give simple a calculator service. I give 2 plus 2 it gives me 4. So that's as the SOA comes into picture. They are like completely silo independent guys. They have to take care of any kind of request and answer to that. So we are like, but there are some dependencies. If you think of, fortunately we did not have much.
Yeah, sure. So, like
the problem is, I have some boundaries beyond which I cannot talk in the details from my company privacy policy. The one thing is definitely in our own feature or own component, we have improved in a different way altogether. Even last week, we removed around some 2,000 line of code and made it better what earlier it was in terms of delivery, as well as the code looks and all. The shadow mode testing, it's just not one of the ways. So in shadow mode testing, we have tried different ways because this was something a new area and we innovated in that. Yeah.
Statistics that were shared in one of the earlier sessions about every 11 seconds or 12 seconds, if I remember it right, that there is going to be a deployment that's happening in Amazon. So how does that, whether the refactoring that you do Does it have to, do you consider that also as part of that, or is it like it's a feature that you give out for the every statistics that you have?
So what my understanding of the statistics is, I think
nothing to do with the refactoring or feature addition. It's I think more towards the deployment in the prod.
Okay, so that's to do with even the refactoring also?
So refactoring is just like you have a pipeline, you made some code change, okay, you build it, you put integration and pipeline and it goes into prod. And this is actually happens in couple of I think minutes. We check in and it goes into the production in my service also. It goes into some we can put into hours also, minutes or hours. To add that, I don't know what the exact numbers are. Even I'm not supposed to speak on that. Yeah.
So when you talk about refactoring, did you refactor some of that stuff which didn't add to any business value? Maybe it could be something like there could be say some variables not being used.
yes.
Sort of refactoring.
Even if you say rename of a variable,
Renaming.
we did that.
You did that.
Yes.
Was there anything on the UI side which you did? In the sense,
yeah.
Because I mean, I understand you might not want to talk about that, but in the sense that it is relatively easy to refactor server-side code, because there are a lot of IDs, as you told, which give you a lot of features to easily refactor it. When it comes to UI, maybe not from the look and feel perspective, but from some other perspective, performance standpoint and all, it's a little more challenging and requires a lot more regression when compared to server-side.
Absolutely, good point. So I give a negative
answer, then I'll give you positive answer. So negative answer is we were service, we were not having any expose any of the UI. That's a negative answer. But the positive answer is, if I am a service, I am exposing some API. It has some variables, it has some, you need to give these many inputs and all. We actually deprecated some 6 structures in the input itself. We said there's no need, because earlier the code was needing all this information. We said now the client, you don't need to give this information because our code is completely clean. We have improved in that fashion. Does it answer or?
So you said refactoring is starting point foundation.
Yeah.
So is it useful for, is it good to use for services as well, API services?
Of course, yes. Yeah, like we were as a service only. We were just one of the services exposing API, and we put some foundation blocks before we started the journey.
And when it gets into front-ending, in the sense, I mean the user interface, so that becomes a business call rather than a developer call, right? In the sense, when we talk about the optimization of the code, or cleaning up of your variables, or any dead code which is just existing there, so it becomes a business call. Or you have some control even from the front-ending point of view.
We do have, like that's where we wanted to make sure even somebody is giving us input, we are not caring, and we told them, hey, we are not taking those care. If you want to clean your code, if it's giving a rippling effect, we are more than happy to take that.
Question.
Sure.
Going back to your continuous term,